Hiya, it's Kerry from Mobilates, and it's session 90. Oh, we have got 30 minutes of lovely, flowy, gentle exercise, mobilizing your body in a mindful way, a little bit of Pilates thrown in as well. And you can do it standing, you can do it seated. And we're going to do some all fours, but not all fours. Don't panic, you don't have to be on your knees. Do it from standing. I've got lots of ways of doing it, and some lying down either on a bed if you're doing this from the edge of your bed, because your seat could be the edge of your bed, or lying down on the floor on a mat, or whatever you like to lie down on the floor for these sorts of classes. So it might be your first time, it might be maybe you've been through all 90 times with me, I don't know. Leanne has been here as well on some of these times. We've got Jean here. Hi Jean, lovely to have you here as always. Right, we shall get ourselves started. Starting with, I normally like to start with some breath work and relaxation, just to settle everything down. So take your feet a little wider to give you good balance. If you're seated, take them wider too. Breathing in through your nose, send this breath deep and into a soft belly, so there's room for your diaphragm to move. You'll get more oxygen going down into, you get more air coming into your lungs, but you'll also get more oxygenated blood with this because you're getting better air exchange. And as you breathe out, you can either blow it out through your nose like you're blowing through a straw, through your nose, through your mouth, or out through your nose. If you need to slow things down, blow out through that straw, through your mouth, just a few times, and then take it through your nose if you can. Hiya, Jackie. Lovely to have you here. My regular gang are here. I hope Irene is going to come soon as well. She's normally here. And then we're breathing in. Feel your belly just swell a little, and as you breathe out, just feel it gently pull back. And as you're doing that breath, I'm just going to give you a little guidance for body scanning. So just taking your focus with this breath from the crown of your head, your forehead, your eyebrows, to your nose and your cheeks, letting go of any tension, any stress when you can. Your mouth and jaw, you can even let it slightly open if you want to. Or a little softness just to your jaw, your neck, your collarbones and shoulders, the front of your chest, your back, your belly and hips, over your seat, to your thighs, to your knees, front and back, your calves and shins. Keep that breath going in and out. Your ankles, your feet, your toes. Did we forget the arms? So all down your arms, over the front of your hands, the backs of your hands, up the inner and backs of your arms, and shake it out. And when you think you've let all that tension go, take another breath in a little deeper. Get ready to sigh out. Just as much tension all over again, twice as much. And then we'll start. Little jiggle. Give your feet a wiggle. Oh, I just need to get my feet into shot. Giving your toes a little wiggle up and down. And then I'd like you to squeeze your feet. It feels like you're trying to shorten your feet. What we're really trying to do is get into the arch, which is why I'm showing you the side of my foot. So you can see there it's short, there it's long. And I'm trying to squeeze from the center. The toes try and join in too. I won't pretend that this is particularly easy, especially if you're not used to doing it. Shortened foot, long foot, shortened foot, long foot. And then let all the toes settle, all the feet settle, all your toes up and down again. Perfect. Right, now let's get a little bit more pressure going into the big toe area. And now all the toes at once. And we'll lean a little forwards and back. Whoa. And if you're doing this seated, you might take your hands just somewhere around your chest. But that pressure is going into these parallel feet. feeling it down in your toes, especially as you come forwards. Could also place your hands here if you prefer. And then let's take it in all directions. So thinking of a little circle. Feel it through your feet or feel it through your sitting bones. And then the other way. Really good way just to challenge your balance a little. If you bring your feet a little closer, even your legs together if you're seated, makes it more challenging. That's it. So I'm trying to do this growing tall without everywhere getting super tense. So I'm keeping my arms soft, but I've got a bit of tension going through this front and back area of my body, just so I feel I can move quite freely in different directions and not feel like I'm going to fall. And then soften your knees. We're going to go into pelvic tilts. So where my t-shirt's bunched up here, that's what I'm pulling my belly back towards. And then I'm letting it roll forward. You can see my t-shirt sort of comes in here as my back arches slightly. Breath in, all around your chest and back. And breath out. It's like I'm pulling my belly away from this part of my t-shirt. And it's getting a little longer here. You can also put your hands on your thighs, stopping your thighs pushing forwards, because we're just trying to get this into the pelvis and the lower back. And now you can see it's almost like I've got a little roller sort of turning here and then turning forwards. And then place your hands to the side. Just give it a little side to side wiggle, but keep your shoulders still. You might even give it a little circle each way. Why not? And then we'll grow tall. I'm going to give a tap to the back of my head. It's one of my favorite sort of cues, this one, because it just gives you that sensation just to lengthen your neck and take your, if I show you from this side, that's my sort of normal, slightly slumpy posture. And then, oh yeah, it just opens up across here. And all I've done is think, just going to take that tingle back a little, like I'm just about to lean against a wall. And now with this openness across here, I can turn my head. And I'm trying to turn it softly. I'm not forcing it. I've had a bit of a sore neck on one side. I slept a bit funny. You know how it is. So I'm just going really gentle. Bring it back to the center. And let's go for, I'm going to go for my favorite neck roll, which is this sort of semicircle or maybe bigger. And as I do this, I'm trying not to squash my head at the back. So I'm trying to keep a bit of length to my neck rather than let everything fall. So if I imagine a string pulling my head up, I might put a bit of tension on that string as my head moves, but it doesn't feel like the string is cut and everything goes down. And then let's look ahead. Oh, some bit of sun coming in. Got a lot of wind here in Devon today. It's very breezy. Taking your shoulders in both directions. You might do one side and then the other. That's it. And then check that your feet are parallel. We'll have them. Let's see if I turn my foot to the side and then straighten up, or if you're sitting, 2 fists between your knees. Prepare for the legs to move a little. Soft arm, palm up. And just this little sort of half turn and opening the arm out. Now, if your shoulder's a bit uncomfortable or very uncomfortable, you might be opening a bit lower. If it feels like you want to make this a bigger movement, you can. But look at my legs. If I show you from the side, you'll see the legs walking, the heels coming up, basically. The knees go forwards, and it's just the same if you're sitting. Just allows you a bit more turn to the side. And then a little slide down a wall, and if you're seated, a little press down, and it feels like I'm squeezing my bum just a little. There's some tension going in there, and I go upwards. So this is how it looks seated. You're still sliding up and down that wall, just not as far, but the pressure is going downwards. And if we're doing this standing, sliding up and down that wall. far as you can go. Your arms could be out a little. You might hold on to something if you need to. Next, we're going to go into a heel raise and take the arms up and down. So soft arms up. So I'm going just gently up. I might go a little higher with the arms rather than the feet. I don't want you to take the heels up very far. It's quite challenging when they're not. I want you to be stable with your ankles. If we go far, we tend to get that happening. See my legs having a little shake? So we're taking it less far and we're going to be strong. Now you might take your arms a little higher. I'm going to pull down my shoulders. Oh yeah. So taking them up in this sort of open V. You can think you're making like a flower shape. Last one. And then take it down. Let the arms swing. And then we're going to swish around us. Let your heels move. Let your feet move. We can open this up a bit more. If you're standing, if you're seated, just be careful of anything around you. Might be more comfortable swishing. Always find this one quite calming to do. Bring it back to the center. And then bring your hands to your chest. I want you to imagine that we've got something that we're leaning against, something like a squishy ball against the wall, something that's against this part of our back. You need a little bit of space behind you if you're on the chair, so shuffle forwards. I'm going to go for a little roll. And the bit that I'm trying to roll is my upper ribs and shoulders, as if I'm leaning against a ball. Or someone's got their hand behind me and I'm just using it for a bit of support. Both ways. You could also do this with your hands just at the edge of your head, but I don't want you to push your head forwards. Just keep everything open. And then hold it here or there and think about either the point of your elbow, if you're here, drawing a little arc across, or if you're here, the top of your shoulder is just creating like a little arc shape. Just going across the body. And then the other side. That's the shoulder version. And this is hands to ears. Yeah, my fingers are basically just touching my hair. I don't really even touch my head. Because I know if I do, I tend to push my head in different directions. It doesn't need to go. Lovely. Bring it back to the center and then take your legs wider. Feet are turned outwards a little. Your legs will be bent if you're seated. And we're going to bend one side if you're standing. And then we can either take the arm over the top and push back like that. If that's too much for your shoulder, reach your head. If I show you from the other side seated, can go like that, like that. You could even come a little close. In fact, turn it slightly so I'm on the edge of the chair so I can get a long leg and then come right over the side. And that really mimics the same sort of position that we're in standing. So it depends if that's comfortable for you. And of course, this arm going across. And then you're going to switch sides. So I think I was going this way when I was standing, so I'll go this way now. And I'm trying to take my knee roughly over the direction that my toes are in. That's it. Could be like this. Last one. And then bring your feet back in. We're going to take it to an all fours position and I'm going to give you options. So if you can stand and place your hands either against a wall or a chest of drawers or a mantelpiece like this with the hands on, that's one option. You could also, if you're happy to, go down onto traditional all fours, maybe with some cushions underneath the knees, like this. And also, if it's your wrists, and for me it is my wrists more than my knees, you might want your mat. I've just made this little sort of extra step here. If you've got a mat, and then I take my hands forward on it. So that is the most comfortable position for me. And I'd like your back flat. So it might be you're in like a table here, or if you are against a chest of drawers, my back's flat, but I'm at a diagonal. That's okay. You can be soft in your legs. And then we're going to take one leg out long. Flex the foot so it's flat. And just lift it and take it downwards. Doesn't even have to touch the floor. Now we're lifting it so we feel our bum just tighten a little rather than our back change. So that's what it looks like in this position. And this is what it looks like in this position. You can see I only lift it up if I'm on the floor in line with my body. I'm not lifting it any higher. I just want to feel my bottom tighten. I don't want to go up like that and see my back arch. I'm pushing through the floor. And then if this is too much for you and you'd rather stay seated, I'd like you to take your foot behind and let your weight just hinge forwards into a support leg. And then change legs. So if you're seated, the other foot comes forwards, and it's how far you can tuck this foot so you're on your toes back. Press as hard as you want to. It could be light or it could be firm. You could also hold on to the sides of your chair if you're doing this in this position. So I don't tend to have my toes tucked under on the leg on the floor because they're a bit stiff, but you could. That's mine. I'm not putting much weight through them. I tend to push away from the floor here, though. This is a good place to push away. But here, what I do instead, because my toes on this leg don't want to go under, I really push my shin into the floor. It makes me feel much stronger. Last one. And then I'd like to wiggle your bum side to side, whether you're in this kneeling position or whether you're seated on the chair or whether you've got your hands on a chest of drawers or a mantelpiece. Just give your bum a wiggle. And then I want you to start to look, just checking, have you got a tail? That's the sort of look that you're giving yourself. Have I got something on the side of my hip? Has someone just stuck something there? That sort of look. If you're doing this in this position, it looks like this. And you can have your legs really soft. So I'm coming a little closer. And if you're doing it in this position, we can have our hands forwards. Just have a little look, little look, little look, little look. And then you're done. We're going to take it to a lying down position. So it might be you're lying down on your bed. It might be you're lying down on the floor. But take yourself downwards. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Right, I'm just moving my chair out of the way. And of course, I'm getting a cushion for my head. And then we start lying down. So I'm getting my head on the cushion. I'm checking that my eyes are straight up towards the ceiling. My feet flat on the floor, my knees bent. And just have any of those little adjustments that you want to have. For me, it's always my back and my hips. I just like to give them a little wiggle out. I always like to sort of, don't know how to explain it. I'm trying to knead into the floor a little bit like a cat when they're settling down. Get a little back massage. And then hands on your belly. Take a breath right around your rib cage from back, sides, front, all expanding. Through your nose and breathe out through your nose. And as your belly starts to tighten, we're just going to drop our waistband or rock your pubic bone towards your nose, and you feel this part of you sort of scoops. And then we reverse that and just go back to where we were, little space behind our back. Breath in, breath out. Now, as you're doing this, is your head sort of mimicking that same thing. Try and resist that. Try and hold your head really steady in your cushion. Keep your eyes on the ceiling, and maybe you're looking at a tiny shadow or a little dot or a little imperfection in the ceiling. That's what I'm looking at, a little tiny imperfection. And then you're not getting that sort of extra movement up here. You want the movement in your lower back. That's where we're trying to get it. And then let everything rest and settle and just relax and wriggle. And take your hands out to the side, palms up is nice, just opens out your chest. And then give your feet a little up and down, wake them up. And now we're going to stick them down. Imagine that we're going to lift the right leg up, but I've changed my mind. Try and lift it up, but you can't. But feel what your body's trying to do as it's trying to lift it, but it's stuck. Don't forget to breathe. On this next one, we're going to lift it 90 degrees or a tabletop. So take a breath in. And as you breathe out, lift it up. And then I want you to tap that toe down and lift it up. So that toe barely touches the ground. Check your head is still staring at the ceiling. We're going to do 3. That's the third. And then hold that leg just there. Now you're going to lengthen it away so your thighs are sort of next to each other with that little gap. So they're just in line, and then bring it back to tabletop. Lengthen. Bring it back. Keep this other leg completely still. 3. I think we've done 3. Now I'd like you to lengthen. Pull your toes back towards your nose. Lengthen. Toes to nose. Lengthen. Toes to nose. And then we're just going to take our heel and foot and leg down and up. Now you could do a little bit, or just hold it if it feels too much to lengthen it downwards. If you're all right, lengthen it downwards. 2 more. And then bring that leg back and let it sway out and in just to calm it down. Just giving it a gentle rub. Right, other leg. Feet are stuck down again. Try and lift that foot up. You can't. It's stuck down there, but notice what's going on. Lift. No, you can't. Lift. Oh, but you can't. Next one, you can. Breath in. And on your breath out, lift it up to tabletop. And now we're going for 3 tiny toe tap dips, just dipping and up. Dip, up. This area is controlling. Hold it there. Now we're going to lengthen that leg. Thighs in line. Back to tabletop. Lengthen. Tabletop. Lengthen. Tabletop. And lengthen. Hold. Now we're going to bring the toes towards our nose. And then long. Toes towards your nose. Heel pushes away. Long, keep those thighs in line. I know it's hard. Oh, goodness me. Right, 1 more, or is it 2 more? Lost count. Right, you can either hold this here, you can take it up and down a little bit, or you can take it almost to the floor or even touching the floor and back up. I just about touch. I think I can feel like more like my clothes touching the floor. Last one. And then bend it back. Let that leg flop in and out. And then we'll take our arms out to the sides. Now let your knees sway. Your shoulders stay on the floor. Just a gentle, we're going over the sides of our feet. That's it. So it might be you do this a small amount, or you might want to go almost to the floor. It depends how flexible you are and how comfortable you are doing this. That's it. And then bring your legs back together. We're going to close them up. Leave the arms open like this. Open and close the legs. And then leave them closed. Now bring the arms up like you're just holding a huge ball. and bring them closer together. Fingers might touch. Open up, close, open, close, open, and down. We're going to roll onto our sides and then onto our fronts. So onto your side first, and then adjust yourself so that you are face down. You might want a cushion under your forehead. I don't tend to. I prefer to use my hands. You could also have this cushion right here in the sort of groin area if your lower back gets tight. We're going to try and lengthen our back so much that you won't have that tightness there. But if you know it's a problem area for you, stick it underneath there. Right. I'm going to have my hands down here and my forehead on my hands. So my nose is straight down to the floor. And I'm going to lengthen away. So you can see when I'm like that, my bum is sort of sticking up. If I lengthen and I feel like I'm pulling my belly away from something that's cold, like ice on this mat, and that just lengthens my back, weights everything up. I'm going to give my shoulders a little roll. And now my feet are lengthened. My legs are as long as I can get them. And now I'm aiming to make them a little bit longer. So I'm lifting my leg, but more than lifting, I'm lengthening it like I'm trying to just touch my big toe to the opposite skirting board. And then down. Same one. Up and down. Up and down. You can see it's not very far. And then let everything have a little shake, a wiggle. Lengthen again. Long as everything can be. Think of that belly almost pulling upwards. You can feel the difference it makes in your back position. Right, thinking of that toe, trying to touch the opposite skirting boards, lifting up and down, up and down. And you can see there's not much up. And then wiggle your bum from side to side. Now you can try lifting both legs. See how that feels. So I'm going to do it with my legs close together. Breath in. As I breathe out, give the shoulders a roll first and then see what both legs feel like together. You could also try it further apart. Breath in, breathing out, giving them a little lift. And then take them down, take your legs wider and let your bum swish from side to side, your hips swish from side to side. You can bend your legs, my feet flatten, and then take the legs in windscreen wipers. And then I'm going to push back into a child position, but you could also roll onto your back if you don't want to go onto your knees and bring your knees into your chest. It's the same position, but lying on your back and not squishing your knees. So I'm going to take it into a wide leg child and just wiggle myself down. Forehead. Now I like my forehead down on the floor, but you could put your hands here or you could put a cushion there. I'm going to take my hands over towards my right. So now I've got my left hand on top of my right hand, but I'm going to take my head that way as well towards my right arm. And as I do this, I'm going to push into the mat and push my bum down to my left heel. Just breathing in and out. And then I'm going to take my left hand over to the left side, my right hand on top. And now I'm going to push down and I'm sort of pushing forwards and away into the mat and pushing my opposite butt cheek down towards my right heel. And then come back to the center. And you can push yourself upwards and bring yourself to sitting. Give your shoulders a roll. Give your head a turn from one side to the other. And this time we're going to turn part way between the front and the very sort of edge of the shoulder. So in the middle. And now the tip of your nose downwards. It's like you're trying to just check out this crease here. the armpit crease. Then bring your head up, same on the other side. So I've got that long neck, just like we had at the beginning. And now I'm just tipping the nose down, just checking out my armpit crease. And then we come to the center, little wriggle, palms up and scoop up the air. Bring all that energy that you've spent in class today into your chest. Well done. Have a lovely rest of the day. I hope you have a lovely week. I shall see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.